All right. Adjust my camera. It's time for another live. My forehead looks shiny. So the topic that we're talking about is right here in the bottom left. 4 ways to boost immune system. Um, so I'm actually going through a PowerPoint slide, and you guys will be able to also download a I should say a infographic that can give you like a cheat sheet on one of the ways to boost your immune system. This is a really important topic because um, as we age, one of the things that does tend to go down is our ability to fight infections. Not just fight infections, but also to prevent them from happening in the first place. So it's very important that we do what we can as we are getting older, because unfortunately we're all getting older, and we need to know what to do to boost our immune system's capacity to prevent and also recover from infection. Extremely important. So as always, I'm asking anybody who's watching watching us live, to introduce yourself if you feel so inclined, and let us know where you're watching from, especially if you're a new viewer. Um, and for our old viewers too, not everyone's going to be able to see your comments because we're streaming on multiple platforms. So that's something always reminding our viewers. But I can see all your comments and all your questions. If you have questions about the topic or about diabetes reversal, of course, that's what we specialize on this channel. Then go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll address your question, even if you're watching on the playback. So this will go live and it will play back. So for our viewers who are watching on the replay, I do my best to follow up and watch for questions that come up, whether on Facebook or on YouTube, that we're broadcasting on. So yeah, this is a topic that's really important. I don't know how you guys feel about your immune system capacity, how you guys are handling getting colds or flu. Um, but I don't like being sick myself. I definitely am the victim of the man flu. I don't know anyone agree out there how you guys do with the flu or cold, but yeah, I mean, I don't like being sick. I don't like being bedbound. I don't like having fevers, body aches. Honestly, it's probably not even that bad when I get sick. I usually recover pretty fast, but those few days, man, they're miserable. But like I said, the unfortunate thing is when we get older, our ability to fight infection gets worse over time. There's two things that happen. Number one, your immune system's capacity to fight off invaders in the body goes down. All right. And what's also happening as we get older, our body has more inflammation. Right. Everyone knows what inflammation is. It's basically like a hypersensitive response to um, um, basically these different systems in our body, and reacting to outside components coming in. So as we get older, it's a kind of double whammy where infections take longer to clear and harder to prevent, and we have a system-wide inflammation which distracts the immune system and makes it harder to fight infections. All right. So yeah, Keys 46J, she wants to share that she takes black seed oil and elderberry. Yes, that's so good. There are so many things that you can do, especially if you're into herbal medicine, to prevent or to boost your immune system. I'm gonna talk about four very practical things. The last one's going to be food. Obviously, we're going to talk about food, and I'll give you an infographic that shows you what foods that you can increase. And what I like to focus on is convenience foods that are easy to access, easy to buy, easy to find. Okay. So definitely stay tuned to the end so you can get that infographic. And we'll also give you an opportunity to sign up for our free diabetes reversal program. It'll be going on next month. I guess you could say end of January next month. Okay. So about a month from now, we're a little past a month from now, you're going to have an opportunity to get a free diabetes reversal program, right? But let's go on to the topic of the hour. I always try to keep my lives short and simple and sweet. So we're going to try to end within the 20-minute to 30-minute mark, okay? But still covering some really good information. So I would like to say, share this with people as you're watching this. Share this with people. Let them know this is a very important topic to cover. So, what is the first thing that we can do to boost our capacity to fight infections? And this is quite simple: is to lose weight if we are overweight or obese. Okay. Um, Obesity and being overweight doubles the risk of getting infections, specifically the flu, and not only having or flu-like infections. So this is a study. This is based on studies on overweight and obesity and its effect on uh, the human's immune systems when one is vaccinated. So when you're vaccinated, I'm not sure if anyone knows how vaccines work. So when you're vaccinated, for example, for flu, it's not the vaccine itself that is uh, pr- um, fighting the infections or preventing the infection. What it does, it's your body's response to the vaccine. So a vaccine is a weakened virus that primes the immune system to create antibodies. And these antibodies that are created as a result of the vaccine are what fights the infection or prevents the infection. So as we get older, our response to getting vaccinated is worsened. So the antibody response is worsened. When you're overweight or obese, even if you are vaccinated, you're more likely to get the flu or other flu-like infections because your immune system is not as strong. Okay, so that there's other studies that kind of back this. This is another one that I like to highlight, and another reason why I put it as number one, as one of the things we need to do to boost our immune system is to get to a healthy weight. Those who get experience, and according to a Swedish obese subject trial, and this is, I believe, the only trial that was a large base prospective control trial on obesity and long-term results. What happens when people lose weight from bariatric surgery, particularly. So they took a group of people who had bariatric surgery. And they, of course, they had their control group, those who did not have bariatric surgery. So they were overweight or obese and did not lose weight, right? Those who went through the surgery experienced an on average 20% weight loss. And compared to the control group who never experienced weight loss, those who lost weight had fewer heart attacks, fewer strokes, 80% less diabetes. That's huge, right? And what I want to focus on is that last endpoint, that they had lower cancer rates and overall mortality simply from losing 20% of their body weight. Overall mortality basically speaks on the body's basically all causes of death. So they had less. They got to live longer. One of the reasons that is, you'll see this on this next slide here, is obesity hinders natural killer cells. So natural killer cells are a type of cell in the body that specialize in basically attacking, targeting, tagging, and destroying invaders, right? And I mean, just look at the name, natural killer cells. They signal cells for destruction that are harming your body. Okay, very important first responders. They're like the first soldiers in the battlefield. Okay, they're not because when you're infected, your body takes time to create specialized antibodies for that specific infection. Natural killer cells are like the Marines. Okay, so they're first to the scene, first to respond as your body's building immunity. When we lose weight, our natural killer cells can actually improve. The count or amount of natural killer cells improve, something that's really important. So in this study that was done on obese patients who lost weight, they found that after losing weight within 90 days, their natural killer cells were reactivated, which were at one time deactivated because of their excess weight. So it is very important, number one, to maintain a healthy weight for better immunity. Okay, so that's one thing we'll say. Number two, all right, number two is huge, and one thing I'm passionate about is exercise. Okay, how many of you guys are exercising? How many of you guys have an exercise plan that you're if you're not exercising, then let it be a goal for the new year. Okay, we do have free exercises, I believe, in the link if you're watching on Facebook below or above on Facebook, I think. So depending where you're watching, or YouTube, look at the description section, and we have exercises for you. But yeah, moderate exercise can reduce sick days by 25 to 50%. Okay, according to this study. Um, so I don't know about you. If you like, if you maybe you like sick days, maybe you like calling out of work. Um, but for me, I don't mind taking a sick day, but I just don't like being sick because I want to enjoy my time off. So if you by those who actually have even just moderate exercise, so that's like light jogging, walking regularly, a moderate exercise program usually is about 150 minutes weekly of light activity, something that gets your heart racing at least, can reduce your sick days by up to 50%, right? The days that you are sick, especially in this cold season. Here's another study that I was is really interesting. So this study put people on a exercise bike, and they had to cycle for 30 minutes. Okay, so they would take their blood after the 30 minutes. They would sample their blood, right, and put it in a petri dish and put it along with cancer cells. And with after just 30 minutes of cycling, and of course I should say they compared the before cycling and after cycling. And after cycling for just 30 minutes, their blood, their natural killer cells in their blood was able to kill off 60% more cancer cells. I don't know about you. I want cancer fighting blood, okay, running through my veins. How many of you want cancer fighting blood running through your veins? I definitely do. You should too. Of course, we're talking about infection. I know, but that's not that cancer is not cancer, but these same natural killer cells that invade or that destroy cancer cells also can destroy viruses and bacteria. Okay, so if you want blood that fights infection, you should be exercising. I mean, that's huge. 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, and a 60% boost in your natural killer cell ability. So that's huge. You guys should be having an exercise plan if you want to boost your immune system. Right. Here's another study that said, I think what they did here is they put them on a more rigorous exercise for 25 minutes, and this boosted the effectiveness of flu shots. So after having a flu shot, those who had exercise for just 25 minutes had a stronger antibody response to being immunized. And this was in a group of older individuals. Okay, so especially when you're older, so 60, 65 and up, if you're watching, especially if you're getting flu shots, they're not very effective. They're infamous for not being effective when we're older. These immunizations. So pneumonia or flu, whatever or hepatitis, for example. But when you exercise, the antibody response to these vaccines goes up significantly. Um, Okay, which one was this? Okay, this is the next one. I actually make my screen bigger because I can't see my slide very well. Actually, let me do it this way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so sleep is number 3. Sleep is the third thing that I want to add. Okay. Oh, this live is going to be short. So I don't know if you guys have questions to prolong this live, but this is probably going to be a short and sweet one. Sleep is huge. How many of you guys are getting enough sleep? How many of you guys are getting at least 7 hours of sleep? I honestly sometimes struggle with this. I have a pretty big busy schedule. I'm lucky to get 6 hours, on a good day, but I do try to shoot for 7 or 8. That's what what studies show is most beneficial. But when you're talking about boosting your immune system, sleep is so important. So in this study, that linked self-reported sleep and antibody response to, again, the flu vaccine. Those who had 6 hours of sleep, less than 6 hours of sleep, had significantly fewer antibodies after being immunized for the flu. All right, and they did the same study and actually hooked up their, I can't remember how they did, but they hooked up their wrists, their measured blood flow to see. Basically it was more objective. So the first study was subjective on sleep. The second one was objective. They were able to monitor their sleep patterns. Okay. And those who slept more than 6 hours after the night after, this is interesting. So the night after getting vaccinated, those who slept for 6 hours or more, so, getting 7 or 8 hours, they had double the antibodies even just 1 year after the study. So that's and just think about this. Just one night of good sleep after being vaccinated boosted their body's capacity to make antibodies. Just one night of good sleep after getting that vaccine, their antibody response doubled and stayed high even a year later. So you can imagine just losing one night's sleep can wreak havoc to our body's ability to respond to infections. Um, this is actually hard to see. Oh, yeah. So this is again another study on pneumonia, getting pneumonia. So those who had less than 6 hours of sleep, they had a 40% greater chance of getting pneumonia. 40% chance of getting pneumonia just for losing sleep for getting less than 7 hours of sleep. And this was a prospective study on older individuals again and their risk of pneumonia, of getting pneumonia. So they asked them, how much hours of sleep they got, and those who got 40 less than 6 hours or less than 6 hours, they had a 40% greater chance of contracting pneumonia. And as pneumonia definitely is one of the leading causes of death in the elderly. I believe infections in general is a fourth leading cause of death of our elderly individuals in the world. Now, if you combine the fact that they were getting less than 6 hours and they were also overweight, that jumps up to 80%. 80% more likely to contract pneumonia if you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep and you're overweight. So be serious about your sleep. All right. This is another interesting study on sleep and the cold virus. Okay. So this is a common cold dripped in the nose. So they took the cold virus and they dripped it in people's nose. I don't know who would sign up for that. It sounds kind of something that's not something I would want to sign up for sure. And those who had, again, less than 6 hours of sleep were 4 times more likely to fall ill. So that's interesting. Even they took this group of people, and those who had less than 6 hours of sleep were 4 times more likely to get ill. Even though everybody in the study got the virus, only those who did not sleep much, more than 6 hours, or 4 times more likely to fall ill. Sleep. So you can see sleep is extremely important. All right. So last, of course, we know eating well. Eating well is so important to boost our immune system. So this study shows how important. So a lot of people want to know. So what does eating well means? What does that mean? Fruits and veggies, man. It's the same thing Mom has been telling you since you were young. Eat your fruits and your veggies, man. Um, Sadly, there's a very small population, or percentage, I should say, of people who have the recommended amount of fruits and veggies, at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies. I don't know if anyone watching, if you guys are getting at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies, but ask yourself that: are you getting at least 5? Because those who had, and this study was for, again, in older individuals, those who are 65 or older, vaccinated for pneumonia. It's because when you're 65, the pneumonia vaccine is definitely highly recommended. Those who had 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily versus just 3 or less had 82% greater antibody response. So after the vaccine, they tested their blood, and there was 82% greater response antibodies in their blood just because of 5 servings of fruits and veggies. That's huge, right? So ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and veggies are you getting? Are you getting at least 5 or 6? All right, almost coming to an end here. So this is what I wanted to show off a bit. This is really a nice infographic I put together. Of course, there's a lot of foods. There's a lot of foods out there that are good for boosting your immune system. This is not an exhaustive list. So I'm not trying to say that, I know you guys probably are asking, why isn't that on there, or this or on there? But I wanted to focus on things that are easy to find, okay, and that were backed by scientific studies. So things that were actually studied, and there's scientific research, evidence-based research that shows a strong capacity to boost your immune system. So these are things you can kind of start eating throughout this winter months. If you're not eating, get by more of them. If you want to have a strong immune system, and start cooking with them, start eating with them. Every one of these are easy to start incorporating in your diet. Okay, and you can kind of get an idea too just on the class. So garlic and all herbs blueberries and all berries, broccoli and all other cruciferous vegetables. Um, but these are ones that have been proven to boost your immune system. So if you like this infographic, it's in the description section. Just go ahead and look for that on YouTube or Facebook. Download it. It's if you have any problems downloading it, then let me know too, or just screenshot that if you want a copy of that. All right. Lastly, this is where I want to end. Okay, and this is why we on Diabetes 180 encourage a whole food plant-based diet. If you're on the fence, if you have friends on the fence, then as far as at least the effectiveness, I think most people know it's good, for your health. But there are quite a few people that still are on the fence of whether or not being whole food plant-based is really worth it. So this study was on the risk of COVID-19. 600,000. So a Harvard Nurses Health study took 600,000 participants. That's a huge study. It's a lot of people, and basically did surveys on their diet and studied their response to COVID-19. And according to this study, those who are vegetarian or plant forward, what plant forward means is that they have a diet that consists of mostly plants, minimizing animal-based foods like meat, dairy, eggs, and cheese, right? And also junk food, I think, was in there too, minimizing junk food. So a healthy whole food plant, a healthy vegan or vegetarian diet. There was a significantly lower risk of not only getting COVID-19, but also dying from it. And not just dying from it, but also having complications from it. I don't know why this is not mainstream news. This is something that everyone should know. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that kind of gets pushed back on the news articles, right? But yeah, those who eat plant-based are less likely to die. Not only less likely to die, but less likely to get COVID in the first place, because it's effect because you're incorporating so many foods that boost your immune system and your antibody response to infections. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Audrey, I think we talked about that in our Facebook group, your white blood cells. And I think you also even shared with me your labs. I don't recall. I think you did. And yours were on the normal side, right? See, your blood cell count, this is good, so a lot of times people get their blood cell count from their doctor and it might say low, right? Or any lab work might have a low on next to it, or a red flag on or red. And a lot of people freak out like, oh man, this is must be serious. Why am I low? You have to understand that lab works are relative, right? It's very hard to narrow down what's normal for everybody, right? So the most important thing is to get them routinely to know if there's a change. So let's say you check your blood cell count and it's a certain number. You want to make sure it's consistent. So of course, as long as it's consistent and there's no symptoms, there's no complications or no health problems related to the specific lab. What you're looking for is consistency in that. So, but the most important thing is that that you are doing what you can to prevent disease, chronic disease, and acute illnesses. In this case, like our topic is today, by eating healthy and living healthfully. Right, getting sleep, getting to an ideal weight. What else do we say? Exercising regularly and making sure our diet is filled with the food that I believe God designed us to eat, right? Which is foods that come from the earth. You do these things and don't worry about the numbers, okay? Don't worry too much about the numbers. Don't get caught up, Audrey, on your numbers. Focus on your lifestyle and making sure that you're doing your part to keep your body temple as healthy as you possibly can. That's the best you can do, right? And your body will thank you. I promise you, your body will thank you. So that's all we got. If you have any questions on this live, then of course let me know. I always like to give a freebie away. So we have two freebies tonight. We have the infographic that displays some ideas of the foods you could start adding more to your diet. But also I want you, and I should actually look for the link for this. So this is a QR code for the free webinar workshop, online workshop that we're doing for diabetes reversal. So if you or any loved ones are suffering from diabetes, then we're giving you free information on how to reverse it. I don't know why you wouldn't sign up. Okay. I'm giving you the best information I can for no charge for a whole 3 days. You get to sit with me and we get to talk together in a private session to reverse your diabetes. So definitely scan the QR code. I should actually have put the link in the chat too, because I know someone said that they sometimes struggle with getting the QR code. So give me a moment so I can get the link in the chat as well. And let's see if I can just pull it up. Just give me a moment. All right, and I should also let you guys know while I'm finding this that this is going to be our last live for the year. Okay, so we're going to resume. So I need a break. All right, we're going to resume our lives in January. So I believe it should be let me check my calendar actually. Um, so January, actually, it would be like the second week because I want to keep it on Monday. So our next live will be January 6th. So we have a few weeks. Um, if I might do one in the first week of January, I don't know. I'll let you know, obviously. So stay tuned. I always send emails out, but this will definitely be the last live for the year, and we'll continue next year. So hope you guys have been enjoying the lives. All right, here is the link. So if you guys aren't able to scan the QR code, go ahead and grab it here. All right, and I'll put it on the chat. So there it is. So it's in the chat there. So look in the chat and click on the link. That'll get you to enter an email, and then you can get updates on the live, because I know it's a month from now and you're gonna forget about it. So you want to get updates. So I can let you know privately when the workshop is happening. Click on the link in the comment section. All right. So as always, beloved, I pray above all things that you may prosper and be in good health and have a great holiday season with your family and friends. Remember, nothing feels as good. Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. Okay, so don't go too hard on those sweets. All right, blessings to you.